grab a blanket, grab a warm drink, and grab your favorite pair of headphones because it's time for another episode of the Vibe Bowl Podcast. I'm your humble host Akash, and tonight we are talking about some of the worst movie scenes ever. Joining me are three amazing new guests. We have our resident cinephile, Bailey.
Hello there.
Self-proclaimed flag enthusiast, Nevo.
Hello.
And all-around zoomer, definitely not a boomer, Ben. Thank you guys for joining me. And before we get started, a couple things. For the viewers and listeners at home, you guys can keep up with what we are saying through the links in the description. There's some movie clips, reviews, and articles, some of which we did not get to during the episode, so make sure to check those out. And secondly, tonight is actually a very special episode of the Vibe Bowl Podcast. Any guesses why?
It's the first one.
Yeah, exactly. This is our very first episode. Very special. Thank you guys for watching and listening at home. Hopefully you like and stay for a couple more. For now, though, let's get back to bad movie scenes. I believe our guests tonight have prepared a bad movie scene each. Let's start with Bailey.
So I'm picking a scene from a Netflix movie, which might be like cheating because they're all bad. But so I'm picking a scene from Sierra Burgess is a Loser. And it's a scene where, so do you guys know what movie I'm talking about?
Absolutely not. If it's a crappy Netflix movie, then I probably just skimmed past it and ignored it.
Wait, Bailey, are you telling me you didn't like the Netflix Death Note movie? Okay, I don't know if it should be this call then, because we clearly have a different idea of what's good and bad movies.
Bailey, are you telling me you didn't like the Academy Award nominated movie Roma?
Okay, there's some good Netflix movies. Like I'm thinking of Ending Things is a good movie, Roma is a good movie. But like the teen movies. Like I'm talking about the kissing movies, shit like that. So So I guess I'll just summarize what the movie is about. So you guys remember Barb from Stranger Things?
Yep, classic character.
Okay, so she's the actress. She's Sierra Burgess. And in this movie, she's like, you know, she's kind of bigger. She's not like a traditionally attractive, and she's getting bullied by like this traditionally attractive girl. And somehow this like popular girl, her name's Veronica, has Sierra's phone number and gives it to a guy, Noah Centineo, discount like Timothy Chalamet if he didn't have talent. I think that's who Noah Centineo is.
That's a pretty appropriate description. He's a staple in all the Netflix teen movies.
What's the name? Noah what?
Noah Centineo. He was in To All the Girls I've Loved Before.
Yeah.
Oh, another movie I didn't watch. Wait, I know this one. My mom watches a lot of these shitty Netflix movies, so I'll pass by the TV every once in a while and see like stupid faces. So there's one.
Yeah, like he's like all the little girls like I think are in love with him. Whatever.
Very cool.
So in the movie, Veronica, the popular girl, gives him Sierra's number, like pretending it's her number, and he starts texting her, and she pretends she's Veronica, and then she like convinces Veronica to like keep up this ruse like for Sierra. So the scene that I picked is a scene where Veronica and I think his name's Jamie with a Y, which is fucked up, but whatever. They're like on this date and like he wants to kiss her, but Sierra's like they're like in front of a truck and like Sierra's like under the truck and she's like, no, like you can't kiss him, like this is my date. And so Veronica has Jamie close his eyes and then like has Sierra like pop up and she's the one that kisses him. But like he doesn't know that he's actually kissing Sierra. He thinks he's kissing Veronica.
Wait.
So the reason I picked this is because it's just sexual assault being played as a cute movie moment.
Pretty much.
Sorry, I missed the thing. Are they like on a stage? Or because I think I've seen like a similar scene.
No, they're like out
with him in the movie.
No, yeah, they're like in a parking lot, right? I think I've seen this one too.
Okay, so never mind. But I have seen a scene in like some crappy Netflix movie as well, where like it's basically the same freaking thing. I think it might be Kissing Booth actually. But like yeah, there was the whole thing where like people put the blindfold on, and then the person was supposed to kiss him, but it's actually a different girl, and he doesn't know. But yeah, no, sounds like the same thing.
Yeah, like it's just
like, oh, sorry, go on.
Well, I was just like, one, like it's just straight on like sexual assault. Like he's not consenting to kissing this girl.
Yep.
Two, they like play it. They like, if you guys are gonna watch the scene, like there's like a music cue, and like it's supposed to be like endearing. And three, like how are we supposed to believe that like this guy doesn't hear these two girls like in front of him, you know? Like you can tell if there's multiple people in front of you. So that's the scene I picked. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, if I remember, they like whisper too. They're like, oh,
yeah,
you can kiss him. Like, oh no, I can kiss him. No, I get to kiss him.
Oh my god.
And then the guy like almost opens
you'd have
his
seen
eyes.
this movie.
Well, yeah. Akash is a big fan.
I'm a big fan of these teen cringe movies on Netflix. They're just so good. But yeah, I think I saw this scene specifically before I saw the movie, which was probably also a mistake. And yeah, no, Bailey's right. It's literally just sexual assault. It's like date rape, but it has the pretty music, and it's like, oh, the ugly girl, you know, redeems herself. Like she gets the pretty boy to kiss him. It's supposed to be like.
Oh, she's the ugly girl too.
Okay. Yeah.
Sounds fun.
I don't think her being ugly necessarily changes the ethics of it, but you know, I totally understand. Yes.
Yeah. So at the ending there, all she did was like when the girl came back, all the other girl, like the what's the character's name from Stranger Things?
Sierra.
Barb. Whoever that actress is. She ducks down. And like apparently he can't see behind the girl's legs because all she did was duck down.
Yeah, and like not to body shame, but I feel like it's also made the point of the film. She's not the most discreet person, so like it would be pretty hard to miss when she crouches behind what's a pretty slender girl, right? Like I feel like it would be pretty visible. He also basically just opened his eyes for a split second and they like shut it closed. So yeah, I don't get it.
Most of the YouTube comments in the scene have pretty much agree with you. The top comment is, this is sexual assault. He didn't consent to that. A couple down, it's he low-key got assaulted. This ain't cute, it's creepy. So like it's I'm sort of happy that people realize that this is really weird. There's hashtag he too. Like there's no positive. Yeah, yuck. This is so rapey. Like, yeah, there's no positive comments here. Oh, there's one that's MASA film. I think that means I like this movie, but I don't speak that language. So
yes,
so that's the only positive comment.
It does mean I love this film. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Just to like go back to like something Ben said before, like even if she like was attractive, like the moral like question of it would still be the same. But like I do want to say, like when the trailer of this movie came out, like I was actually kind of excited about it because like to see someone that doesn't look traditionally attractive, that was something I feel like, I don't know, would have made me feel better when I was in high school. And specifically in this movie, there is a scene where she's like having a breakdown like to her parents, and was like, because her parents are both like are like traditionally attractive, and like she's not, and she's like look at you, and like this is what you've left me with, and like do you know how hard it is to be like a teenage girl and to look like this. And that's something that like I really related to in high school. That being said, she's still a horrible person, and like the context of when she's saying that, like she's the context of like that scene that I was just talking about, she's just like hacked into Veronica, like the pretty girl's phone, and like has like posted like that she got broken up with her boyfriend through like a text message, like but sent it to everyone in the high school. So like she's a shitty person.
She's a rapist and a cyberbully. That's perfect.
And a cyberbully, and then she gets the guy in the end.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So
I think I think a movie like that with that exact plot point could actually be done well if they like sort of spun it as like a look at this manipulative person and the manipulative tactics they're using to get what they want, rather than like look at this brave woman overcoming. I think they could do it well and have the exact same plot. They just have to like atmosphere it different.
Yeah, no, they're really good. I think a lot of what makes this particular scene bad too is just the context of the rest of the movie. Like this scene by itself is like you can tell it's pretty rapey, but the rest of the movie and the music and stuff too just frames it like somehow Sierra Burgess or Barb, she's supposed to be like winning. It's like a triumph for the ugly girl to what essentially boils down to rape the guy question mark.
And like just the like logistics of it, like when you're kissing a person, like you can feel what their face feels like, you know?
This is a semantic thing, but
yeah, like you would be able, but like you'd be able to like, because I'm assuming her face has a different like structure.
By the way, everyone in this podcast is super chads, and we do a lot of kissing.
We do a lot of kissing.
Not with each other, but like with a bunch of we're all tens.
Like
we're
a
all
lot
tens.
of people. Our body counts are way high.
Through the roof. Yeah.
Through the roof.
I've kissed a lot of guys. I know what I'm talking about. But like you would be able to tell.
I've kissed guys, girls, whatever. It doesn't really matter, you know.
But you would be able to tell that you're not kissing the other girl.
Yeah, I was gonna say the hand as well. Like I think you could feel.
I was going to ask, not to be kind of on the body weight thing, but like, aren't your hands a little heavier than stuff? Well, like the hand shape is different from the other girl.
Yeah.
Like the structure of her hand is completely different from the other girl.
Yeah, exactly. I feel
like Nevo's being like she got chubby fingers.
Well, like, you know what?
I mean, it is what it is. Like the movie also frames it as sort of like, oh, she's like the movie. First half of the movie, like it on purpose makes it seem like she can't fit in because she's fat, or she can't fit in because she's ugly. So I think it's fair to point out that what the movie sort of emphasizes is also then just ignored by the movie. They're like, oh yeah, she's fat, so everyone sort of treats her differently. But you know, her hand doesn't feel different than the other girl's hand. Why not?
I have lots of ugly friends, and let me tell you, they're awesome. I personally am not ugly myself. No way at all. But I have lots of ugly friends, and I just want to say that there's nothing wrong with being ugly. I am very pretty, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
Me personally, I'm a 10, but like I do some really good charity work, and I hang out with the
Yeah, I generously donate my time to ugly people.
Yeah, like every Tuesday and Thursday, I spend my time with the ones. I'm just kidding.
Just a question.
Mm-hmm.
So does he ever find out that it was her that he kissed?
Yeah.
Good question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, what's the whole point of this if like he never actually knows? Like, oh, so you got to kiss with him and that's it?
Yeah, like I don't know what her plan was, but yeah, it's like revealed, and he's like disgusted, but then he's still like. He like goes to her house and he's like, "You're exactly my type of girl."
Oh, nice.
And then they make out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is the movie otherwise good and the scene is just bad, or is
No, I wouldn't say that. I'd say there's one good redeeming quality, and that's the actor. I think his name is CJ Tyler. He's the guy in Meet Earl and the Dying Girl, and he was in Power Rangers. But he's a really funny actor.
That's a movie I really relate to. CJ what?
CJ Tyler? I think that's his name.
Tyler.
Sorry, RJ Kyler. Sorry, I was close.
RJ Kyler.
Yeah, I actually really like him as an actor. I wish he was in more things. He was really good in Meet Earl and the Dying Girl. And I think he was like he actually gave an okay performance in Power Rangers, and he gave an okay performance in this movie. So I really hope that he can be in more movies in the future. Because I think he deserves better than like this kind of like.
RJ Kyler with the C.
Yeah.
I've never seen Kyler with the C. Anyway, yeah, no, that was yikes.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty strong contender, pretty cringe if I may. Let's go to Nevo next, actually.
Yeah, well, here's my issue when it comes to this stuff is that I can never I don't think I've ever seen a good movie and thought this movie was great, but there was one scene in it that was just awful. At least not off the top of my head, like right now anyway. And then my other issue is that if I have a bad movie, then it's just all bad. How do you just pick one scene from a bad movie? The only thing, so there's a few examples that popped in my head. One of them, because I am kind of a Marvel fanboy, was the scene in Endgame, Avengers Endgame, where all the girls group up, and yeah, which was just weird. I don't think it was per se awful. It was just so out of nowhere that I was just okay, cool. But the one scene that I remembered that I thought was so I don't even know if it can be explained as bad. I thought it was horrible, and I laughed my head off because of how bad it was. So the story behind it is me and my brother. We would go to the theaters a lot, and with my mom as well. And we went to go see. I think this was back in 2017. King Arthur: Legend of the Sword, I think it was called.
Okay.
It was the new King. It was the new King Arthur movie that came out in 2017.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, start of the movie, I forget. I literally remember nothing about this movie except this one point. Start of the movie. I think this is Arthur as a kid. Him and his dad and his mom are running away in the night to board on his ship. But they're being chased by I think some dude on a horse or something. I literally don't remember anything about this movie except this bit. And then because they're running away because somebody wants to kill him. And I should mention that his dad is the king, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So Arthur's the next in the throne later.
Right, he's the heir to the throne.
Yeah. So they're about to board the ship, but the dude chasing him on a horse shoots a I forget if it was throwing a spear or shooting an arrow that goes and kills his mom. And he as a child is being carried by his by his dad. And it kills his mom, but the way it's played out is that so the dad is facing towards the shooter, holding Arthur as a kid. So Arthur is facing the mom as she gets hit. And then you see from his point of view, she falls to the ground. But the way the camera is, so it just stays still when the mom falls. And then when she hits the ground, there's a drum hit, and then the credits go on. So just seeing the body fall, and then all of a sudden dun dun, and the credit and the title of the movie, I laughed my head off because it was just such a weird choice of transition. And I've been trying to find it, but I haven't found that specific moment, so I can only describe it.
Yeah, there's not to be a cinephile, but in in just making a movie, there's certain editing styles that are just inherently comedic, and stuff like that is so just to do a take, a noise, and then a cut right into the credits, that's kind of inherently funny, comedic.
It wasn't the entire credits, it was just the title that just popped up, and then after that literally it just cuts on to the next scene. That was the intro of the movie, hey, this is our protagonist as a baby, his mom dies, and then that happens, and then on we go, because screw the mom and losing her, just let it happen.
It just has no impact. That's it. It's only worth starting the film, and that's it. The mom doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, it was just I was me and my brother, because my brother was sitting beside me at the time, we were both just laughing off. And the fortunate thing is that my mom tends to have different opinions about this stuff usually, so she actually really liked the movie, but both me and my brother were just not into it after that. It was hilarious.
I haven't seen the movie, but does it have sort of a similar energy to the whole perfectly cut screams thing that everyone seems to be into around now?
Yeah, that sounds
a sort of a comedy clip ends by some abrupt unexpected action happening, and it cuts off like in the middle of that, and that's the end of the skit. Is that sort of a similar energy?
The comedy doesn't necessarily come from the cut. The comedy comes from so like the mom like falls out of frame because the camera's staying still. So the mom falls out of frame, and then once she's out of frame, the title pops up. That's where the comedy comes in. So there's nothing abrupt, but just like, yeah.
It was like absurd.
Mm-hmm. And I don't even think this is any like type of popular opinion. I think that movie was very mediocre. In terms of like general consensus of like critics and people, but yeah, like it was just a hilarious start to which was not supposed to be an hilarious movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're just talking about how like it was mediocre, and like from like the consensus I saw, like I didn't see the movie, I do think it didn't, I'm pretty sure it didn't do that well. But like just saying like, oh, we're going to introduce like the family and the mother dies, and then we're just skip everything else and then just go into like his life. So you're telling the audience that like, oh, his mom dies, and any connotation that goes with like, oh, like he probably struggled with that. Like they're not showing it, they're just telling you it, right? And that's just genuinely like a bad storytelling convention. So just to add on to the fact that it's a bad scene and probably a bad or mediocre movie, like they just want you to know, oh, he has a dead mom. This is what that like you already know what that means. We don't have to actually show how it affected him.
I was gonna say there is tension. I think there is like music. Again, I only saw this movie once and like don't really remember much about it. I think the whole premise of the movie was that so I think the villain was played by Jude Law, and like he's the brother of the dad, who's played by I think Eric Bana, but I don't. Yeah, I think so. And like I think the dad finds out that like, oh, he wants to like be the next like heir to the throne, but because Arthur's born, then he wants to, you know, get rid of him. But like he knows that it's coming, so like he tries to get his family away. But right as they're about to board the boat to leave, then the mom gets shot or speared. I do not remember. But yeah, I just brought like that is literally just the only actual detail of that movie that I remember.
It sounds like a memorably bad scene if that's the one thing you remember. All right, and let's move on to Ben. You're the only one left.
Sure. So I chose. There's this cool movie that came out in 2005.
Oh my god!
It's called. Everybody already knows what's going on. It's called Revenge of the Sith. It's a Star Wars movie. Okay. I really, really, really like Star Wars. I don't like 7, 8, or 9, and I will fight to the death in saying that those are not canon.
Oh, the comments are already gone.
Trash fan fiction. So, but that's unrelated. I'm choosing one from one of my absolute favorite Star Wars movies and one of my absolute favorite movies of all time, Revenge of the Sith. Now, I'm gonna spin this a little bit on its head because this is a scene that I used to think was really bad, but I've come to like a lot. So, I will briefly explain why I think it was bad, or why I thought it was bad, rather, and then why I sort of came to terms with recognizing that the scene was as I should expect it from the movie. The scene that I chose was from Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. This is a scene that I used to dislike, but now I've come to really like a lot. And it's the scene where they're on the lava planet of Mustafar, and Padme first confronts Anakin, and they're sort of talking outside of the ship that Padme landed on Mustafar. And the Anakin delivers a line, specifically, "Only my new powers can do that." And that line, when I watched the movie when I was much younger, I completely lost my shit. I thought that was so funny. I just thought it was such a ridiculous line, and it just... I remember actually that was when I heard that line, I thought, this is probably the worst line. So it just doesn't... It's so silly. And I maintained that for a few years. Not that I thought about it that often, but when we watched the movie, I got really excited when the line was going to come up. So I was like, this is it. It's happening. But in recent years, I've really come to like the prequels, specifically Revenge of the Sith, but honestly the other two as well. I come to like them a decent amount. I think a lot of the criticisms that I initially had, like Anakin being super awkward and just sort of like kind of creepy, I think that's actually a reasonably good and consistent character arc of Anakin. You know, he's sort of a late teen, early 20s guy that's like sort of a bunch of pressure's been put on him since he was 10. You know, he's the chosen one. He's got all this power. He's got all this influence, and he's so young still, and he kind of develops a bit of a complex, you know. And I think that Hayden Christensen gets a lot of flack for kind of delivering lines very weirdly, and I mean the lines themselves being written slightly strangely as well. But I think the writers knew what they were doing. They were writing an angsty, awkward teen who, like, you know, thought he was hot shit, but was just more or less kind of an immature kid that was the victim of some circumstances outside of his control. And I think that in this line, the only minute powers can do that line. I think that he sort of it culminates the whole I'm super powerful, like all these problems, you don't have to worry about those because I'm the greatest, I'm the best, I'm invincible, I'm young, and I'm politically influential, and I'm the chosen one of some kind of ancient prophecy, you know, I'm the greatest. Like, he got a bit of an ego trip here. I think that it really comes to light in this.
It's definitely like an easy situation to develop almost a god complex in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, in the scene immediately following this, he delivers the line something along the lines of, "I brought peace, freedom, and justice to my new empire." Right. And he has no empire. he just like made a decision, and he cut. Oh, spoilers for this movie, by the way. He made a decision, and he cut off Jedi Master Mace Windu's arm and saved Palpatine, who he completely looks up to as like a father figure because he didn't have a father, right? And yeah, I think that honestly, upon closer analysis, this whole scene is actually pretty good.
Okay. So yeah,
that's my. So I know I turned the theme a little bit on its head here of bad movie scenes.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's a movie scene that I think it's very easy to think is bad, but it's actually not, in my opinion.
Okay.
Ben, I think you're giving way more thought than George Lucas ever.
Yeah. See, I don't know about that, because George Lucas, Star Wars was his brainchild. I think it was you that sent me like a thing the other day that called like Star Wars the best, like, or the most high budget indie movie series, because it was just like some dudes, just like, he just wanted to tell a story, you know. It was just one guy, more or less, and then it got out of his hand. And, you know, that's why the new ones don't quite have the same passion that the old ones did, even if the old ones have their little awkward quirks, you know, and they definitely do. And the new ones are just completely polished Hollywood, sort of made in a boardroom movies. And I don't know, I give George Lucas a lot of credit for world building, definitely.
Can I just interject there, because you're accusing the new movies of being boardroom?
But
I would say that Last Jedi is completely opposite of that, because Last Jedi was literally, I'm not saying it's a good movie, because I don't think it is, but that was Rian Johnson's vision, and he did what he wanted, and he said, fuck what J.J. Abrams wants. I'm gonna put the little porg animals in there, and I'm gonna...
But porg is actually, I think porg would be something that George Lucas would approve of. I think he'd be chill with that. But
no, but like, I think Rise of Skywalker, that was like boardroom mess.
Well,
that was like this.
I think J.J. Abrams in general tends to do kind of boardroom.
I think Rian Johnson was constrained a lot by boardroom things, but he still like edged out his own little sort of twist on things when he could. And I respect that if it's either your own series or you like are talking with someone where it's your own series. Like, I think you can do that whenever, like, because George Lucas is still around and he's still he built this universe, and I think to do that into someone else's universe is a bit disrespectful. Rian Johnson did what is often considered the best episode of Breaking Bad, Ozymandias, and he did a really good job. It's an excellent episode, and I think that's because, you know, he did his own little directorial twists, but he probably had a lot more talk with Vince Gilligan and such, more than Rian Johnson had with George Lucas. That's my guess.
Well, also, like, they shouldn't have just given.
The new trilogy was ruined by boardroom stuff, by like throwing directors around, for sure.
Yeah, they were just like, oh, we don't have a plan of what this series is going to be, so we're just going to give random directors like different episodes and no coordination between two.
No, even that. Why would you split it in half with a director?
Yeah, Yeah, but we're not talking about the new series. We're talking about.
No, yeah,
we're talking about.
Yeah.
And this scene, I'm so sorry. The acting's so
It really
bad.
is.
Yeah, thank you,
No,
Bailey, for saying what I was
it's
exactly
so
what I was
bad.
about to say.
That's the easy criticism that I used to make, but I think that the delivery of these lines are like, I know it's like a whole like haha I was just pretending to be stupid meme, but like I think that like actually Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman both can act, and they're acting. I think they're very in character here. I do.
Okay.
So you think the characters were like meant to act badly and awkwardly?
Yeah, exactly. I think they were written to be, especially Anakin, but also Padme to an extent, because she's young too. I think she's like 27 and like a super important senator, right? But yeah, especially Anakin, I think, was written to be like a super awkward, whiny teen. You know, the famous "I don't like sand" line is
that's a pretty.
Speaking of bad scenes.
Speaking of bad scenes.
And again, that's another scene I would justify as good for the same reason that this scene is.
So
I am okay, Ben. I would say Natalie Portman is a good actress when she has a good director.
When she's into what she's doing. Sorry, because like me being the Marvel fanboy I am, she did not act well
Thor
in
2?
Thor movies.
Yeah.
No, she acted better in Thor than in Thor 2. But yeah, no, if she's like not into it, she doesn't really act well.
And I don't know if I would call George Lucas a good director. So
those are fighting words, but that's not what this is about.
Also, Ben, like the very start of the scene you shared, I think Anakin's first line, I forget like what she asked him, and then Anakin answered with one word. I don't even remember what the word is, or how or something, and the delivery of that was just no.
Well, again, I think that I can pretty personally. I wave away that sort of like the acting is so awkward by like, yes, it's supposed to be. Like I think that's why.
I don't know if I'd call it awkward. I just like don't think he was putting enough into his like responses and stuff. Like I'm not convinced that he is fully convinced in what he's doing. That's my thing.
I think I see what you mean. Yeah. Along those lines, I wanted to ask Ben. Do you think the scene would be better or worse? Because you think, like, according to you, that the awkwardness and the sort of the delivery of the lines is like sort of what the characters are meant to be, right? It's consistent with the rest of their character and where they come from. So do you think the scene would be better or worse in your eyes if the two actors had like good acting, if they were like really expressive and the delivery was really well done?
I think that if the characters were like super confident, like Chad, like JoJo protagonists, like all the time, I don't think that would quite convey the same meaning that it currently does, of just like sort of a young dude caught up in like this huge galaxy of like issues where they're all out of his control and he was just thrown into it. But he's like trying to grasp it, thinks he can control, and now he thinks he can control her not dying because like of the dream he had. So I don't know. I think that's. I don't want to spend too much longer on this because I know that other people have movie scenes, but like that's my sort of. I'm pretty happy with how this is delivered after like a lot of years of watching it and laughing about how silly it was. I was like, okay, well, and it is still silly. Don't get me wrong. It's absolutely still silly, but I think it being silly is good.
All right. With that, we have all of our scenes, and I gotta say, there's some pretty bad ones. Let's start with which one you think is the least bad scene. Let's get that one out of the way first. Which one do you think is the best scene out of the three? Let's start with Bailey again. Why not?
Well, like, I don't consider the prequel Star Wars movies like films. Like, I think those are just trash. So,
we're gonna fight.
I think they're just I think they're just like a bunch of garbage. So
I think they're awful, but damn, not to that extent.
Like
we're gonna throw hands, Bailey.
They're just like.
I'm gonna fight you too, Nevo, but less because
Like visually, they're ugly. Like Ewan McGregor's cute, but like that's like
that's about it.
You can't write a whole trilogy on Ewan McGregor. Like you can try, but at like the same time, like my clip is like just I think morally like abhorrent. So I'm gonna go with Nevo's because I think it's just like mediocre trash. It's just like mediocre, just as in most movies are just like mediocre, So I think his is the least insulting.
If I'm going next, then yeah, I'm actually gonna agree with Bailey because like I don't even think mine is necessarily like bad. It's just the biggest highlight of what I was talking about is just that cutting, like that editing where like the mom falls, the title screen rolls, and it's just hilarious. Like that's what I find bad. Like I just think that choice was terrible. If we were talking about the worst, I'd go with Bailey's for sure because like that was just like pure like cringy material, and I'm sure like there's plenty of other scenes to find similar to it. But out of what we shared, like I agree with Bailey. I don't think the Star Wars prequels are that good. In fact, I'm gonna keep starting fights. I think they're practically on the same level as the sequels.
Oh,
yeah, there you go.
Well, at least the sequels are pretty to look at.
True.
I'm gonna go monkey. Holy shit! I'm gonna go monkey.
Yeah.
Prequels are a perfect Shakespearean tragedy. Don't even
Oh
touch
my
it.
God, fuck off. Go watch. Go watch a movie.
Unironically, okay, I'm done. I'm sorry.
Then go read a book. Oh my god.
So yeah, evidently Ben might be a little bit biased.
But even with that regard, like that scene is just mediocre. Like, I think the delivery's a bit weak, but like it's not bad. Whereas like Bailey's scene was just like actually like I can't believe what I'm watching.
Okay, yeah. Ben, do you agree? Do you think Nevo's scene is like the least bad?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I personally, I think it's pretty obvious. I think that the scene that I presented is the least bad scene because I think it's a very good scene. I also agree that I think Bailey's is the worst. Now, I want to like make a little bit of an addendum there. I think that it could have been good if I haven't seen the movie, by the way, so I'm going entirely on what Bailey said of how the rest of the movie was framed. But I think that scene could have been good if it was framed as like how people, if they ditch like if they sort of are a sociopath, can get like sort of what they want, even if it's like morally abhorrent to do so. I think it could have been good if it was framed as like a villain story, but it seems like it's framed as like a you go girl kind of story, and that's that's not how that should be
it definitely
framed.
is.
That's literally sexual.
It definitely is framed.
So yeah, I gotta go with Bailey's there as the worst.
Okay, yeah. Cyril Burgess raping a guy. the worst scene. Well, that was it for tonight. Thank you, Bailey, Ben, and Nevo, for joining me. It was great having you. And stay tuned for next episode, where we talk about the most dominant players in any sport. But until then, take care, stay safe, and good night.